commitment to using lethal military force to destroy the sinister cartels and terrorist networks once and for all. We'll get rid of them. We need your help. You have to just tell us where they are.
Something major just happened in the Caribbean, and most people still don't understand how big it could become. At a high-level summit in Florida, United States President Donald Trump gathered more than 17 leaders from across Latin America and the Caribbean to launch a new security alliance called the Shield of the Americas. But this was not just another diplomatic meeting. During the summit, Trump made a stunning statement. He told regional leaders that the United States is prepared to use military force, even missile strikes, to eliminate powerful drug cartels operating across the hemisphere. And then he said something that quickly grabbed international attention. While discussing the fight against cartels in Mexico, Trump claimed that Mexico's president refused his offer of US troops because she was afraid. According to Trump, she is so afraid of the cartels that she can't even think straight. That comment alone has sparked intense debate across the Americas. But behind the headlines, something even more important is unfolding. Because countries like Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago are now being pulled directly into this new security alliance, and their role may be far bigger than many people realize. Guyana, with its rapidly growing oil industry and strategic location near Venezuela, is becoming one of the most important countries in the Western Hemisphere. Trinidad and Tobago, on the other hand, has one of the largest energy industries in the Caribbean and sits directly along key maritime routes used by drug trafficking networks. So when Washington talks about using military cooperation to fight cartels, these two countries suddenly become extremely important. And that raises several big questions. Why is the United States suddenly building a military-style coalition in the Americas? Why are Guyana and Trinidad being brought into these discussions now? And could this new alliance completely reshape security, energy politics, and power in the Caribbean region? Because by the end of this video, one thing will become clear. The fight against cartels may only be part of the story. There is a deeper geopolitical reason why Guyana and Trinidad are now being placed at the center of America's strategy in the Western Hemisphere. And once you understand it, the entire situation starts to look very different. So stick around, because the real reason behind this new coalition and why the Caribbean suddenly matters so much may surprise you.
We have to eradicate them. We have to knock the hell out of them because they're getting worse. They're taking over their country. The cartels are running Mexico. We can't have that. Too close to us. Too close to you.
The story begins in Doral, Florida, where President Donald Trump hosted leaders from across the Americas for what he called the Shield of the Americas Summit. The goal of the summit was to launch a new alliance aimed at confronting one of the region's biggest threats, drug cartels and transnational criminal networks. For decades, these organizations have operated across borders, using shipping routes, airspace, and remote coastal areas to move drugs across the hemisphere. Trump described the cartels as a cancer spreading across the Americas, warning that their power has grown to the point where they now threaten national security. According to Trump, traditional law enforcement strategies are no longer enough. Instead, he argued that the only way to defeat these groups is by using the combined power of regional militaries. In his words, the only way to defeat these enemies is by unleashing the power of our militaries. And that statement signaled a dramatic shift in how the United States plans to confront organized crime in the Western Hemisphere. At the center of this strategy is a new alliance involving more than 17 countries across the Americas. The coalition is designed to increase military cooperation, intelligence sharing, and joint operations against cartel networks. Trump said countries participating in the alliance would work closely with the United States to locate and dismantle criminal organizations operating across borders. At one point, he even suggested the United States could assist with precision missile strikes against cartel leaders. According to Trump, American weapons are extremely accurate. He described it this way: "You want us to use a missile? They're extremely accurate. Right into the living room." While some leaders welcomed the tough approach, others warned that using military force against cartels could dramatically escalate conflict across the region. But for many governments, the growing power of criminal organizations has already become a major national security concern, and that is why several Caribbean and Latin American countries agreed to participate in the new coalition. Among the countries supporting the initiative is Guyana, one of the fastest-growing economies in the world. In recent years, Guyana has transformed from a relatively small Caribbean economy into a major global oil producer. Massive offshore discoveries have attracted international companies and billions of dollars in investment. But with that rapid growth has come new security challenges. President Irfan Ali acknowledged that drug trafficking networks have been using airspace, maritime zones, and remote border areas across the region for years. He said these criminal operations have damaged the Caribbean's reputation and exposed countries to international crime networks. According to President Ali, the new coalition offers a way for countries to finally confront this issue directly. Guyana has already increased cooperation with international law enforcement agencies. In one major operation, authorities seized more than 4 tons of cocaine near the Venezuelan border. Another operation intercepted a semi-submersible vessel carrying over 2 tons of cocaine off the Guyanese coast. These incidents highlight how the Caribbean has increasingly become a key transit route in global drug trafficking, and that makes cooperation between countries even more important. While Guyana's oil boom has placed it on the global stage, Trinidad and Tobago has long been one of the Caribbean's most important energy powers. The country has one of the region's largest natural gas industries and a long history of exporting energy to international markets. Recently, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar met with several U.S. officials during the summit, including U.S. Secretary of Energy Chris Wright. Their discussions focused heavily on energy security and the future of Trinidad's refinery industry. One key issue on the table was the possible reopening of the Petro-Trin refinery, which could play a significant role in regional energy supply. But energy was not the only topic being discussed. Security cooperation was also high on the agenda. Because Trinidad sits along major maritime routes in the Caribbean, it has long been a strategic location for monitoring trafficking networks. That means Trinidad could become an important partner in the broader regional strategy being developed by the United States. But there may be an even bigger reason why Washington is strengthening its partnerships across the Caribbean. For years, the United States has grown increasingly concerned about foreign influence in the region, particularly from major global powers like China. China has invested heavily in infrastructure projects, ports, and energy developments across Latin America and the Caribbean. Many countries in the region rely on Chinese financing for major development projects. The United States now appears determined to reassert its influence across what it has historically considered its strategic backyard. And alliances like the Shield of the Americas could become one way to rebuild that influence. Another major factor shaping the region is the ongoing situation in Venezuela. Earlier this year, U.S. forces captured Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro, accusing him of involvement in narco-terrorism. That dramatic event significantly changed the political landscape in South America. According to President Irfan Ali, tensions in the region have begun to ease since Maduro's capture. He said the change has brought greater stability and less hostile rhetoric in the region. For Guyana, which shares a long border with Venezuela, these developments could have major implications for regional security. The launch of the Shield of the Americas alliance marks a significant moment for the Western Hemisphere. It signals a shift towards stronger military cooperation between the United States and its regional partners. And it places countries like Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago at the center of an evolving geopolitical strategy. As the Caribbean's importance continues to grow, both economically and strategically, the decisions made today could shape the region's future for decades.